Have you ever felt that burning, almost reckless urge to prove yourself?
Mhm.
To reach for something magnificent, something just beyond your normal grasp, maybe? Even when, every fiber of your being and perhaps every voice around you is warning you of the danger?
Or maybe just to take control, even when told not to.
Yeah.
Just to show what you can do.
Exactly. Welcome to the deep dive. We're not just scratching the surface here, we're plunging into the depths of ancient stories that, well, they still resonate today, don't they?
They really do.
Our subject for this deep dive is Phaethon. Now, that name, at first glance, might just sound like another, tragic Greek myth.
Another cautionary tale.
Right. But as we unpack this story, you'll discover it's far more than that. It's a really rich tapestry. It's woven with explanations for natural phenomena, deep human emotions, artistic inspiration.
And even some surprising connections to our modern world, actually.
Definitely. Our mission here is to extract the most compelling nuggets, sort of offer you a shortcut to truly understanding why this ancient figure continues to, well, shine through history.
And we've truly gathered quite a range of sources for this. We're drawing from the earliest Greek poets, like Homer and Hesiod. They kind of laid the groundwork.
The foundations.
Exactly. Then through the great tragedians, Aeschylus and Euripides, who put this stuff on stage. Then we move to the Romans, like Ovid, the master mythographer himself.
Can't talk myths without Ovid.
Pretty much.
Uh-huh.
And Lucian, the satirist, who loved to poke fun at the gods.
Always good for a laugh.
And of course, we'll look at how modern interpretations have kept this story alive, too. You might be surprised at the different angles people have taken on this single myth over, well, millennia.
It shows how adaptable these stories are. Okay, so we have a son desperate for proof and a father who literally holds the keys to the sky. Let's dive into that moment, Phaethon's fate being sealed. How does this simple act, driving a chariot, spiral into cosmic chaos?
Well, at its heart, like you said, it's about ambition, hubris, cosmic disaster.
So what was it about Phaethon's background, his character maybe, that set him on this, frankly, reckless path?
Well, Phaethon, his name actually means radiant or shiner in Greek, from the verb phaetho, to shine.
Oh, interesting, apt.
Very. He was the son of Helios, the sun god, and an oceanid nymph named Clymene. Basically a minor sea goddess.
So a fire and water parentage, that's quite a mix.
It is. And his primary motivation, in most versions anyway, was this fervent desire to have his divine parentage confirmed. He needed proof.
Why? Was he being doubted?
Sometimes, yeah. The stories often say he was challenged, maybe even mocked by his peers. Someone like Epiphus, who questioned his claim of being the son of the sun. So he wanted validation, and he wanted it dramatically.
You can almost feel that desperation, can't you? That need to prove yourself. So do we know more about the specific taunts? What pushed him to ask for something so impossible?
He makes this huge ask, doesn't he, to drive the sun chariot for just one day.
And Helios, his father, is, well, not thrilled, I imagine.
Not thrilled is an understatement. Helios is horrified. Absolutely horrified. His warnings are dire, and Ovid describes them so vividly.
Right.
He tries desperately to talk his son out of it. He emphasizes the immense, almost unimaginable dangers.
What kind of danger specifically?
Oh, everything. The fiery, flame-breathing horse is barely controllable, even for him, Helios. The incredibly steep ascent at dawn, the terrifying height of mid-heaven. Ovid says even he feels afraid looking down from there.
Wow, even the sun god gets vertigo.
Apparently.
Yeah.
And then the treacherous descent. Plus, he has to constantly fight against the spin of the sky itself. Push against its momentum.
That's a lot.
And he even warns Phaethon about, an ambush of wild beasts in the constellations. Taurus, Sagittarius, Leo, Scorpio, Cancer, lurking along the path. He makes it crystal clear. Only he, Helios, has the strength and skill for this. It's a father pleading, begging his son not to do something so far beyond him.
That's a truly terrifying picture. You'd think that would be enough, wouldn't you? Warnings from an all-powerful god.
You would think.
But Phaethon's youth, his inexperience, plus this unwavering resolve, he just wouldn't back down. What is it, do you think, about maybe youthful ambition that blinds us to such clear warnings, even from a divine father?
That's a million-dollar question, isn't it? Maybe youthful arrogance, the sheer lure of glory, that desperate need for affirmation.
Whatever it was, he persisted, despite these terrifying, very rational warnings.
He did. And so the fateful moment arrives. he takes the reins.
And this is where it gets really interesting, cosmically speaking. It's not just an inexperienced driver messing up, is it? It's like the universe itself rebels.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
The horses. They immediately sense the lighter way. This isn't Helios.
They know something's wrong.
Instantly.
Yeah.
And they just veer out of control. Phaethon can't hold them. The chariot plunges into this catastrophic, uncontrolled ride.
And the impact on Earth.
Devastating. He drives too close, scorching the land, literally turning vast areas into deserts. Think the Sahara.
So the myth explains deserts.
Yes, and conversely, it creates frozen wastelands when the chariot swings too far away. It even offers an explanation for why certain peoples have darker complexions. Their blood was supposedly brought to the surface by the intense heat.
Whoa, that's a very ancient sort of physical explanation.
It is. It's primal, visceral. And the earth itself, Gaia, cries out in pain, begging Zeus for relief. Even the stars complain about the heat and the chaos disrupting their paths.
So the whole cosmos is in uproar, which forces Zeus to intervene. Was this seen as like divine justice or just purely cosmic damage control?
Definitely cosmic damage control.
Mm-hmm.
Utterly necessary. To prevent complete annihilation, Zeus had to act.
What did he do?
He strikes Phaethon down with a lightning bolt, kills him instantly, puts a final stop to the chaos.
Phaethon.
He falls, ablaze like a shooting star, into the river Eridanus. Some ancients identified that with the Po River in Italy.
And Alvi gives him that famous epitaph, right?
Yes, it's incredibly poignant. It really sticks with you. Here Phaethon lies, who in the sun god's chariot fared, and though greatly he failed, more greatly he dared.
Greatly he failed, more greatly he dared. Wow, that captures it perfectly. The audacity, even in failure.
It's powerful. It speaks to anyone who takes a huge risk, doesn't it?
It really does. But the story doesn't quite end with his fall into the river. The grief. The grief reverberates, leading to some fascinating transformations, explanations for the natural world. Let's talk about his sisters, the Heliades.
Right, the Heliades, Phaethon's sisters. They were utterly heartbroken.
Yeah.
Inconsolable.
Understandable.
They mourned him by the banks of the Eridanus for months, just unmoving in their sorrow. Their grief was so immense that the gods, some say Zeus, some say Helios himself, transformed them.
Into what?
Into black poplar trees. And from these trees, they continually shed tears of amber.
Tears of amber. That's beautiful and tragic. And it connects grief directly to a natural element. How common is that kind of specific origin story in Greek myth?
It's quite profound, actually. This transformation served as a direct mythical explanation for why there were rich amber deposits found near the Eridanus River.
Ah, okay, so it's etiological explaining an origin.
Exactly. And it gets better. The ancient Greek word for amber is electron, which sounds incredibly similar to elector, an epithet for Helios, the sun god.
Whoa, so it's like a linguistic echo, a divine pun almost.
Pretty much. It links the gem right back to the sun god and his grieving family. Even the poplar tree itself was sometimes considered sacred to Helios, maybe because of the, sun-like brilliance of its leaves.
It really shows how the Greeks found meaning everywhere, weaving sorrow into the landscape, turning grief into something tangible, even beautiful.
Absolutely. Transforming loss into enduring beauty.
That's fascinating. So the myth explains amber, a specific tree, even a word connection. But the mourning wasn't just his sisters, right? There was someone else.
Far from it. There's also Cycnus. In later Roman versions, he's Phaethon's lover.
Okay.
And he mourned so inconsolably by the river that he too was transformed. A swan. A bird known for its mournful calls, and supposedly for grieving its mate for days.
Another transformation born of grief.
Yes. And even as a swan, the stories say, he avoided the sun's heat, always remembering Phaethon's fiery death.
That's poignant.
And in some versions, Apollo, who apparently had blessed Cycnus with a gift for singing, turns him into the constellation Cygnus, the swan.
Up in the stars.
Right, linking him forever to the sky, and maybe to the idea of the swan song, that final beautiful performance before death.
So the stars themselves become monuments to this grief. And what about Helios, the father? Surely a god could handle the loss.
Not at all. Even the powerful sun god wasn't immune. Helios was stricken with such deep grief. He actually refused to drive the chariot.
They stopped the sun.
He tried. The cosmos fell into darkness, into disarray, until the other gods, Zeus included, basically had to persuade him, maybe even threaten him, to get back to work and restore order.
Wow. So his personal sorrow had cosmic consequences.
It shows how even the most powerful figures are bound by these deep emotional ties. The loss hit him hard.
The ripple effects of Phaethon's fall are just immense. But what's maybe even more fascinating is that the story itself, it wasn't static, was it? It seems like it changed over time, almost like the path he tried to drive. How did this narrative evolve?
You've hit on a really key point there. This wasn't some fixed story handed down perfectly. Not at all. In fact, if you go back to the very earliest sources, Homer, Hesiod.
Yeah.
Phaethon wasn't even known as an individual in this specific story. Phaethon was originally just an epithet, a title for Helios himself, meaning the radiant one.
So Helios was Phaethon.
In a way, yeah. And the sun chariot, the central image we think of, that didn't even exist in their works. It shows up a bit later, maybe in the Homeric hymns.
No kidding. So the myth we know actually grew over centuries.
Absolutely. It deepened, layers were added, and even once the basic story took shape, the details shifted significantly.
Like what kind of details?
Well, Phaethon's mother, for instance. Sometimes it's Clymene the Oceanid, sometimes Merope, sometimes Rhodos. And the relationship between Helios and Clymene changes too.
How does that change things?
It really alters Phaethon's motivation. In Euripides' version, Clymene hides his true parentage. She claims her husband, Merops, is the father. So Phaethon's quest is about revealing this big secret.
Ah, okay. Different dynamic.
Totally. Lucian implies they were married. And Non-Nabinus, much later, he wrote these incredibly detailed epic retellings. Naviamus explicitly says they were married, which shifts Phaethon's motivation again, maybe from proving parentage to just wanting to be like his amazing dad.
Imitating his hero father. That's a big psychological shift.
It is, and some versions add really unique twists. Euripides, for example, apparently had Helios actually riding alongside Phaethon on another horse, shouting advice.
Talk about backseat driving. Or side saddle driving.
Exactly. And then there's Pelopheitus, who tried to rationalize myths. In his version, there's no Zeus thunderbolt. Phaethon just messes up and drowns, much less dramatic.
Takes the gods right out of it.
And what's really fun is how sometimes the gods are, well, humanized, even parodied. Lucian, the satirist.
Right, you mentioned him.
He gives it this comedic spin. He has Zeus angrily yelling at Helios for letting his kid borrow the super chariot and almost wrecking the world. And Helios tries to shift some blame onto Clymene, saying, "Oh, they both pressured me."
Like a cosmic sitcom.
Exactly. A very relatable, almost domestic squabble among the gods. It's so different from the high tragedy versions. It shows how ancient writers use humor to critique or, humanize even their most powerful figures.
It sounds like the myth was almost like ancient open source material. People could add their own spin, their own jokes, their own interpretations.
That's a great analogy.
But beyond just narrative tweaks, the story clearly carried deeper meaning for ancient thinkers, didn't it? What did these myths mean beyond just being a good story?
That's a crucial question. Plato, for instance, in his Timaeus, he brings up Phaethon. But not just as a myth. He presents it as an allegory.
An allegory for what?
For, and I'm paraphrasing here, a declination of the bodies moving in the heavens around the earth, and a great conflagration of things upon the earth which recurs after long intervals.
Wow, so like a cyclical cosmic event, almost a proto-scientific idea hidden in the myth.
Exactly. For Plato, it was a way to think about recurring cosmic cycles, maybe periods of destruction and renewal, framed within a familiar story.
That's a huge leap from just don't be reckless, kid. And it connects to other myths too, right? You see similar patterns. I'm thinking of Asclepius.
Spot on. The story of Asclepius, another mortal son, divine father Apollo this time. He also disrupted the natural order.
By raising the dead.
Right. Crossing a fundamental boundary. Just like Phaethon drove the sun off course, both get struck down by Zeus to restore cosmic balance after other gods complain.
And the father's grief is central in both, too.
Yes, the deep grief of the divine father. And even that motif of amber tears pops up in some Celtic traditions for Apollo mourning Asclepius. It highlights this recurring theme. The major consequences when a mortal son overreaches, challenges divine limits, and the resulting sorrow or even punishment for the father.
So, where does all this leave us in terms of its legacy? This myth clearly isn't just gathering dust. It's continued to inspire, to shape culture.
Oh, absolutely. Its influence is everywhere, really.
Yeah.
In ancient art, you see it on Corinthian pottery, those intricate chariots, Roman sarcophagi love depicting his dramatic fall.
Visual drama.
Totally. There's even an Aretine mold that's a type of high-quality Roman pottery showing the whole scene. Zeus, Helios, even the sea goddess Tethys, apparently collecting fragments of the broken chariot. It shows how widely known the story was.
And the literary footprint is just massive, isn't it? Dante mentions him.
Yep, in the Divine Comedy.
And Shakespeare. He uses Phaethon multiple times across like 4 different plays. What does that tell us? That the myth became instant shorthand for unchecked ambition.
Exactly. That an Elizabethan audience, whether it was a queen or a lover in the play, would immediately get the metaphor. He famously uses it in Richard II. Down, down I come, like glistering Phaethon wanting the manage of unruly jades.
Unruly horses, yeah. And Juliet, impatiently waiting for Romeo, wishes Phaethon would whip the sun's horse to the west to hurry up the night.
It's woven into the fabric of Western literature. And beyond that, into music and opera. Lully wrote a whole musical tragedy, Phaeton.
Was that just about the myth?
Well, yes, but it was widely seen as an allegory for political ambition at the court of Louis XIV, specifically referencing the downfall of Nicolas Fouquet, a finance minister who got a bit too big for his britches, imitating the king's extravagance.
Art imitating life, or myth imitating politics.
Right. And Saint-Saëns composed a really powerful symphonic poem, also called Phaeton, capturing all the drama musically.
Okay, but here's where it gets really wild for me, the modern echoes. It seems like this myth has popped up in the strangest places. Space. Cars.
It really has. There was the now defunct Phaeton hypothesis for the asteroid belt. The idea that a planet named Phaeton used to be there and got destroyed.
Wow.
There's an actual asteroid, 3200 Phaethon, whose orbit takes it incredibly close to the sun. Nice little cosmic nod.
And the car.
And the car. The luxury Volkswagen Phaeton. Clearly aiming for that image of power, prestige, maybe a touch of daring.
Hopefully with better handling.
Let's hope. And even biology tropic birds, those seabirds. Their scientific genus name is Phaethon. Maybe for their brilliant white, sun-like plumage.
It's everywhere. But then you get these really unique counter-narratives, right? Like Ayn Rand.
Ah, yes. In Atlas Shrugged, she includes this fictional opera where Phaethon succeeds. He controls the chariot of the sun.
A total reversal.
Completely.
Yeah.
It's presented as this allegory for human power, individualism, mastering nature. The absolute opposite of the traditional cautionary tale.
It just shows the incredible adaptability of these ancient stories, how we keep using them to explore our own ideas.
Absolutely. Rand's Take is a perfect example. The myth becomes a canvas for projecting contemporary values, whatever they might be.
So we've journeyed through Phaethon's story, from, a young man's desperate need to prove himself,
To a catastrophic cosmic event.
to the enduring grief of his family, those transformations.
And finally, its incredible journey through millennia of human imagination, art, and even science.
This deep dive really shows how one single myth can carry so many layers of meaning, explaining nature, warning against hubris, showing familial love and loss, inspiring art.
It covers so much ground.
So the question for you, listening, might be, what does this myth make you consider about the chariots you might try to drive in your own life? What impossible tasks do you sometimes feel compelled to attempt? And what does it truly mean, that line from Ovid, to greatly fail, but more greatly bear?
It's a powerful question, isn't it?
It really is, and Phaethon's story still poses it to us today, reminding us perhaps that the line between ambition and hubris can be incredibly thin, and sometimes, the most magnificent endeavors carry the absolute greatest risks.